So my handle is snail mail, but I've been flying RC helicopters for about 3 years. The first year I could just barely hover, just tail end hover, and now I'm working on flying inverted. So the challenge for me is going to be to see, can I go from being a regular pilot to a 3D pilot, flying 15 minutes a day on this simulator and going to the field when I can. So I've got this simulator set up, and we're going to use the settings that I use normally. So just to give you a quick overview, what it's like to fly an RC helicopter. In the left, we've got these the collective and the rudder. And so right here, now if you go online, you'll be able to find way better tutorials than what I can set up. So I'll just give you a quick overview. So this allows me to pivot the helicopter right, turn the nose to the right, turn the helicopter to the left, and then when I advance the collective, the helicopter is properly set up. It's going to allow the helicopter to go up and then also allow your helicopter to come down. So what you're trying to do when you first start learning is just how to balance it. Now everything with radio control helicopters are smooth movements. So as you can see, I'm hovering the helicopter, just very smooth movements. Now in the right control on a transmitter, you've got what controls your cycling. So this allows me to roll right, roll left, pitch the nose up, pitch the nose down. And when you first start out, your basic goal, if you have a simulator or if you buy a cheap helicopter, is going to be to try to keep the helicopter in one spot. As a matter of fact, the first year I had no one to teach me. So when I bought my first helicopter, the Align 450 L Dominator, I would spin, and I had just one battery, so I'd go up for 5 minutes once a week, and I would just struggle to keep the helicopter in one spot. So if you invest in a simulator like this simulator, the next simulator, you'll be able to spend those hours, maybe more consistently, 15 minutes at a time, practicing on hovering. So the first thing you want to do again is hover in place. And you'll notice I turn the helicopter to the side and I practice hovering like this and keep the helicopter in one spot, and then I'll turn it to the other side and keep it in one spot as well too. The next thing that you're going to practice as you're doing hovers is going to be nose in hover. So when you turn the helicopter so the nose is facing you, and this is probably one of the hardest maneuvers to do because the controls are reversed. But if you're practicing gently and you just make small movements, you can get very comfortable doing nose in hovers. So for the first year, I did not even dare turn my helicopter towards myself to do nose in hovers, not at the field. And even today, even after 3 years, I will not hover nose in for an extreme long period of time because it does take a little bit of concentration. One of the things that I really enjoy about flying radio control helicopters is that no matter how good you think you are, there's always something that you can learn. So there you go. So you've got your nose in hovers. And the next step, once you've got those down and you're really comfortable with nose in hovers, then you can practice some forward flights. It's pitching the helicopter forward, going forward, and then bring the helicopter to a stop, turn it around. In fact, that's what I practiced. At first, I'd fly forward. Once I got some forward speed, then I'd practice bringing the helicopter to a stop as well. You really want to master those basic fundamental skills before you add anything else. Now, a lot of the 3D pilots that I love to watch, they're great, and a lot of their maneuvers that they do is based on muscle memory. But if you really, really want to master it so you can fly in any conditions, you don't want to skip this step of just doing the basics like I'm showing right now. So here I've got the nose pointed away, and I'll practice slowly turning. And you want to just get this so that you're able to control the helicopter without thinking about it. Once you master those skills, I was watching a YouTube video and they talk about flying in reverse and flying upside down. And those are more, I shouldn't say they're really advanced maneuvers, but they're going to really build off of your basic skills. So you want to be able to hover again, all orientations, and also your forward movement. So before you add flying inverted, what I would say is practice making turns, coordinated turns, left turns, and you can focus on my controls. You can see how I'm barely moving the controls. You're gonna do your left turns, your right turns, figure eights. So when you take your helicopter to the field after you spent a long time or you're very comfortable in the sim, you want to be able to do those maneuvers as well. Now, you know you're comfortable when you're able to make the helicopter go where you want it to go. You never want to find yourself behind the helicopter. You want to always stay in front of it and, you know, 2 or 3 moves ahead of time. So you don't want to just go to the field and bang the sticks. You want to say, all right, now I'm working on left turns. And then you just focus on your left turns and making sure that your turns are coordinated. And again, you do so by watching the inputs that I'm putting in. Now, I'm not perfect again. I'm mainly self-taught. I did not have an instructor to help me even build the helicopter. So everything that I learned is from the forums and watching videos on YouTube as well. There's some great guys in the forums, so I'll be shouting some of them out because they've been extremely helpful. I go into RC groups is one of the forums that I like to frequent. And there's some really awesome guys. You go into the forums, you post pictures of your build, and you've got questions, and they'll be more than helpful to help you as well. On my channel, you will also see footage from a GoPro that I mount on the helicopter because I like to see from the perspective of the helicopter, and this is how I gauge how my inputs are. So again, everything about helicopter flying is smooth inputs. So my goal is going to be on this journey is to just practice 15 minutes a day. That's not a lot. That's literally flying 3 packs if you're going to the flying field. And now I have about 4 batteries between 2 helicopters. So I get 4 flights when I go to the flying field, and then I've got to come home and charge. So if I practice 15 minutes every day, then that would be the equivalent of me going to the flying field every day. So now I just want to set the benchmark of where I am flying now. So you've seen me do some right turns, some left turns. And lately, before I started live streaming, I was working on flying, hovering inverted. So that's the phase that I'm at right now. So I've been practicing quite a bit of time. If I crash, it will happen. This is live. I put pressure on myself because there's no editing after this. So here's me flipping the helicopter inverted, and again you can see that there's much less control. I've got less control. Oh, well, there you go. Much less control flying inverted. I don't know what I did on this one, so let's try it again. I don't know why it's not. Oh, you know what it is? I know exactly what happened. I was not listening to the helicopter, so you probably heard a ding ding alarm telling me that I should land soon. So now we've got a new helicopter respawn. That's one of the beauties of flying in a simulator, is that if you crash, you can always pop back up. You don't have to spend the weeks fixing the helicopter, and you can learn from it really quick. So I really encourage you to spend some time in the sim. Crash as often as you want and learn from it. This sim, next sim, is really awesome because it does have some replay capabilities. So if you want to observe your flight after the fact, you can do some replays. In this case, my replay will be YouTube, so I can actually go back and watch this stream. So there I am practicing some inverted hovers, and again, I'm not going to do anything fancy, but by the end of the week I should be able to do some circuits flying. You know, if I practice, that's what they say, 15 minutes a day, and in a couple of weeks is what I read someone who said this on YouTube. It says 15 minutes a day, 2 sessions of 15 minutes each, and in a couple of weeks you'll be able to fly some 3D smack sequence. Now my goal in RC helicopter flying is not 3D smack or to be a competition pilot or anything of that nature. I enjoy flying helicopters. Very relaxing for me. Not really relaxing, but I do it recreationally. So my goal is not to be a sponsored pilot, but I'm just going to share my journey with you so you can see how I progress and see if it is indeed possible to progress just 15 minutes at a time. Now, before, let's say around March, I was not able to hover consistently. I had really no control. So I'm really excited now that I'm able to keep the helicopter pretty much in one space inverted, and I've been practicing maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I spend about 15 minutes working on it, and I try some more advanced things, which I won't do to embarrass myself right now because we are live. But yeah, so this is it. This is my baseline. So I've done everything that I can comfortably do at the actual flying field. And these are the sequences that I fly when I go to the flying field. I probably spend maybe 1 minute inverted at the flying field, and then I go and do my other sequences as well. So here we go. And when you practice rolling invert, we'll close out with this. You want to be able to roll the helicopter from the left and from the right and from the back, pitch up and pitch down. Of course, there are better terminology than what I'm using, but you want to be able to go like this and then flip inverted. And then also regain control of the helicopter, so you want to be able to do it in one space. And then also you want to be able to roll away from you, pitch away or roll from you. So you want to be able to, when you practice, you want to practice how to go in from all these orientations. And what you really want to focus on is being able to recover the helicopter from any attitude. That's what you really want. Whether you're flying scale or 3D smack, what you really want to do is be able to recover your helicopter from any attitude. Now, in a sim, it's easy to tell the orientation of the helicopter. When you get to the field, especially with the smaller models, sometimes the way the sun hits the model, you'll lose orientation. But if you've been practicing in the sim quite a bit and you pay attention to your last control inputs, you should be able to figure out what the model is doing. Unlike quads, which have stability, or airplanes that always fly forward, helicopters can fly in any direction. So they can go backwards, forwards, and that's why they're really so cool, even full-scale helicopters. So you want to be able to, as you practice, as you work on, it's just making sure that if the helicopter gets into any orientation, you can recover and bring it back under control. Now, some of the advanced flybarless systems that are out there, they have self-riding capabilities, rescue modes. I've got a flybarless system on one of my helicopters that has a rescue mode. I didn't program it because what happens is usually when you are about to crash, unless you're really high up, the last thing you're going to think about is flipping a switch on your transmitter. So I have the philosophy, whether it's right or wrong, is that I want to be able to recover it and maintain control at all times. And I usually don't do things at the flying field that I haven't practiced in the sim for quite some time. So I don't try to push the envelope. I don't have anyone to impress. And I also don't like to crash. I've crashed a few times. Everyone's going to crash. And none of it was major crash. Some of it was, building error, and the helicopter came apart. One part came apart and literally took the helicopter down. So you want to be careful as you build your helicopter. Make sure everything's tightened with Loctite and all of that, so it doesn't come apart in the air. And then the other ones were, I don't even remember what it was. But yeah, if you practice the sim and you get really comfortable in the sim, I've been told it's a lot easier. The real helicopter is a lot easier to fly than in the sim. I sort of believe it because last week, last week, I went to the field and I flew an inverted sequence, able to roll the helicopter inverted at the field, and it felt really easy. But that's because I spent so much time in the sim doing it. What you're hearing right now is my transmitter. It's telling me that my 15 minutes of flying is up. So I want to thank you for tuning in, and what I'll do is every Sunday I'll post a progress. So literally what I've been working on during the week, I'll come on and I'll talk about it and I'll share, and you can see if I've actually improved. And the goal again is to improve 15 minutes at a time a day. And again, this is journey. It's just for the average person. And a lot of people don't have hours to spend at the field every week to work up to be a competition pilot. So I want to see if I'm able to improve significantly this flying season. 15 minutes a day on the sim, and then go to the flying field on Sunday and try out what I've learned. So once again, thanks for tuning in, and please check out the rest of my channel, see some of the earlier videos, and look forward to hearing from you. Now, if you are a pro heli pilot or you've got a lot more experience than myself, I'm always open to suggestions. So post in the comments, let me know what I can do. What should I be practicing based on my skill level right now and talk to me. I'd love to hear from you. All right. That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.